Hello everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. Happy holidays ahead of time. Sending so much love. So anyway, this is our weekly, this will be our weekly astrological transits. And we're going from, let me look at my notes, December 24th to 30th. The full moon's coming in at 5 degrees Cancer, almost 5 degrees Cancer on the 26th. It's going to be like right on my sun and in between my Jupiter, like all that. I probably won't be sleeping. And then Chiron stations direct this week too. And then Venus moves into Sag. So that should be really nice. Although, I don't know. I like Venus wherever she is actually. So let me swap out cameras here and bring you over my table. Look at these charts. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this can be an intense week, but just know that everything is leading to the full moon on Tuesday, and then also we're going to have Chiron stationing direct on Tuesday. So there's a lot of action on Tuesday, and then Friday Venus will move into Sag. So I can't even see a way that the rest of the, even through New Year's, I can't see a way that it's not going to be intense. There's a lot of great aspects, really wonderful aspects. So it all depends on if you're working in the light or if you're, a corrupt politician or business person, then things may be hitting the wall, I guess. I don't know it could be the wall, because Venus will move into a square to Saturn later. So, but anyway, let's focus in on the overview and Sunday. And so, okay, most importantly, only one more day of Pluto squaring Eris, right? And, she's our dwarf planet that's stronger than Pluto. And that'll be done tomorrow, and so that tension field is off there. That'll be a softer aspect when that's gone, or a softer experience when that aspect is gone. And then Ceres here, our other dwarf planet, she's our feminine counterpoint. That's everything to do about protecting humans and the earth. And all of the transitions that women go through. And so especially because she's up here in Sag wanting to move forward, and then we have the full moon coming in soon into opposition, and as the moon transits, throughout the days, and then we'll have that opposition to the sun, we'll have that full moon. And then after that, again, a little before that, I'm sorry, we're going to have the moon in opposition to all of this Sag energy up here. So that's the important thing to remember. So the counterpoints between, or the the polarities is a better way to say it, between Gemini and Sag, they're both one's really intent on learning, which would be Gemini, because you're trying to figure out the right way to go. And then with Sag, you're tuning into your belief systems and what inspires you, and that's the direction that you do want to go. But with the Sagittarian energy, it can be more, with Gemini, it's mutable energy. It's adjusting. It's flexible. It's, because you're learning and going back and forth, trying to connect the dots. But when it comes to the Sag energy, it's very directional, and it can be very, enthusiastic if you want to look at it in the good way. In the challenging way, it can be, like Leo in the dark side, my way or the highway. And so it can be really tied into religious dogma is the problem, right? So maybe there's a lot of opposition in those realms. So, and this is the lead up to Christmas holidays with family. So again, I have to say, pick your battles. Do you really want to go there? or you may have to set a strong boundary, especially when Venus squares Saturn, and we're leading up to that, right? But meanwhile, it's a little more. It's not challenging. It's a little easier. With the Sun newly into Capricorn, we're going to be really, tuned into working hard. Getting things done is going to be a big, focus. That's going to be the primary focus. So, but it's also important to look at how we have Mercury and Mars here squaring Neptune. That is really important. Now, Mercury's moving back, so I can't say that it's, just because there's 4 degrees of separation in orb. Actually, it's only about 3. No, it's about 4. Anyway, because Mercury's going back this way in the retrogradation, it's actually getting stronger. And Mars moving this way connected to Mercury. These two are going to come together. Right now they're about 7 degrees apart, but they are going to come together. And so when you put that Mercury mental energy up against Mars in the same sign, Mars is tons of energy, tons of action, tons of instinctual movement forward. Maybe not thinking, again, if it's my way, the highway, it goes back to that, I'm right, I know the way, that kind of bullshit. So be careful about arguments unless, like I said, you're having to set a strong boundary and you maybe don't ever want to talk to that person again. Because there is the energy here of burning bridges with Uranus. I'm sorry, the South Node here opposing, see, it's 22 degrees here, and we have that opposition to Chiron, and Chiron's about to go direct. So this is a building opposition. This can be intense as well. And, if you're in relationships where you've had the same arguments over and over and over again, and you're tired of it, there really could be some separation here. And that is especially true when it comes to Ceres, because Ceres is, sometimes connected to separation and grieving because of it. So, yeah. And then with I'm going to focus in here on Ceres right now. So Ceres with the trine to Chiron, there's the energy there for healing, and it's a building trine, so it's strong. And both in fire signs, both directional. Aries and Sag are both directional signs, and there's that movement orientation to them, right? I mean, it has to do with, although it was with Sag being more directional, I would think, than Aries. Aries is instinctually directional. And then with Sag, it's mutable fire, mutable movement, which means immutable means that it can adapt. So if you're instinctually going in one direction based on your beliefs, and you stick to your beliefs, but then all of a sudden you realize, or you stick to what's bringing meaning into your life, because we're, again, Jupiter, and we've got the trine up here as well to Ceres. Yeah. No, actually, the trine's to Mars. Wait. No, I'm sorry. The trine is to the Sun. Yeah, 2 to 5. Yeah, there's no way it could trine the other two. Yeah, so actually, this is the saving grace in all of it right here. That Sun trine Jupiter. The Sun is moving towards an exact trine, and that happens on Wednesday. I forgot about that. Yeah, that happens on Wednesday. So this will be the grounding force. So if you stay focused, if you can, here are some really strong keywords I just heard. Make sure you get this out of your mouth, Denise. If you can harness all of this energy to go in the right direction. So if you're, focused on kindness, focused on your service, focused on, opening your heart and loving, And even sending love to those people that are, that they're doing terrible things, and that they're not aligned with the light, and that they don't believe in reincarnation, or that they even get a next lifetime, so that they're, grabbing hold of whatever they can in greed, which comes from their, their belief in just lack. They need even more love, honestly. But that does not mean that you have to engage with them. That does not mean that they are allowed in your life. That does not mean that unless you are having a heart-to-heart with someone who is kind, even though their belief system is opposite, but they respect your opinion and especially your rights, to your bodily autonomy, things like that, then you can do wonders with this type of energy, honestly. So it all depends on the person, the people involved. So I can never say what is the best way to go. I can just say that we've got this build up to the full moon, and so it's going to be intense. And with the connection of Mercury and Mars getting closer and closer together, that will be intense. But there's so much other nice, complementary just energies that complement each other, such as, like I was saying, the Sun trine Jupiter. Jupiter in Taurus really wants healing through stability and self-preservation and safety. And the Sun in Capricorn knows how to get that and will work hard to get that. So, it's back to making things as simple as we possibly can through the holidays. We have these really nice aspects as to Mars here trining the south node, sextiling the south node. So I would think that this connects to opportunities to have some really good times in relationships, some really fun times. Sagittarian energy can be very, very fun. It can be very optimistic and open, and because it's all about freedom when it comes to Sag. Sagittarius people, they want a path that's oriented towards freedom. So they're always searching for that openness and good at expanding into opportunities that are actually going to get you somewhere. So let's see what else I'll talk about Venus trining Neptune when it's exact, because that's coming up. But for now, I want to focus in on, I've talked about the polarity with Eris to the south node. So, that's back to the feminine strength of, just fighting for equality and not backing off. Let's see, let's focus in on these inconjuncts. You can see that there's two coming off of Venus. Over here to, 23. This goes to the nodes. So the North Node and Eris have this inconjunct to Venus. So again, Venus in Scorpio, especially in the last degrees, digging our heels in. We're not going to take no for an answer. We don't care if we have to we don't care if we have conflicting arguments. We don't care if we have to get into a little bit of intensity, or maybe even hold on to some secrets, because we are going through those, especially for the feminine, and anybody holding space for the divine feminine, we're holding on to everything that takes us towards freedom, because it's going to move into Sag, but also whatever brings us into that deep place where we are transforming. Scorpio is so much about transforming and coming out of crisis. So there's not so much of the fear of crisis, because a lot of Scorpios and people with a lot of Scorpio in their charts, they know how to handle the energy. They know how to work with it already. So, but Venus is really all about harmony. It's all about things that you value. And so we're going to continually, be making, we're continually making those comparison values in ways that moves us towards happiness and pleasure, and is very geared towards relationship. So the relationships will still be intense, until Venus moves into Sag, and then things might just really take off. So from now, through Friday, it's all about, where am I going? Am I just sitting here digging my heels in and I'm waiting for people to catch up with me, and they will? Or am I going to walk my path alone? Which, a lot of times we have to do that too. That's just the way it is. But with this trine to Neptune, we have ideals. They're compassionate, they're sensitive, they're including others. We are, with Neptune in Pisces, we're looking for ways to help. We're looking for ways to protect the vulnerable. We're looking for ways to enhance our spirituality. We are feeling that interconnectedness and compassion for all. Even the ones that are saying the most ridiculous things and aligned with the most ridiculous people. And, it can be shocking, but it can intensely shocking with Venus and Scorpio. But then we can also have compassion for the place where we realize, oh my goodness, this person's brain doesn't work correctly. This person's connected. They're in a cult. They're basically in a cult, and so they will be victimized. And the people who are victimizing them will not take responsibility, and they're going to be left holding the bag. Just think of all those people who are, boy, I can't remember what her name was, but there was a gal that was, I can't remember her name. She was yelling at the Capitol. Excuse me. She was, at the insurrection. She was yelling something. I can't even remember the statement, but over and over and over. Anyway, she got 66 months in prison the other day. Her sentence was 66 months. Yeah. I've had car loans that long, and I hated it. I think she's going to hate it more than that. So anyway, yeah. With the trine, it can be a nice flow of energy, but then it can also be the connecting point, because, just one more degree here, and this is an exact trine. So that's important to remember. With Venus being personal love, human compassion, human connection, and Neptune being spiritual connection and spiritually sourced consciousness that is there for everyone, there can be maybe some connections to where people are realizing, oh, what have I been thinking? Because the hateful rhetoric is going to increase. It already has. You guys have seen it all week. People doubling down. Rudy Giuliani loses his lawsuit against Ruby and Shay, and then he goes out the next day and does it again. So now they're suing him again. I honestly don't think that they're going to get much, if anything, because he owes so much. He's been in debt. He's lost his law license. But, he's a particular example of working in the darkness, and how he's just doubling down. And that's what they do when they're really stuck. So yeah, he's spiraling into the deepest, darkest, vicious circles within him. And I don't expect to see it being pretty at all. Probably the ugliest we'll ever see, with the dripping hair dye and all of that. I can only imagine. But, that's a perfect example of the trine energy and how it can not always be good. So, okay, and then Pluto today, or the moon catching up and in a trine to Pluto, again, there's that information that's out there connecting to people who've been in control or out of control of their lives and how well they're doing or not. We will probably see that. And for us, it could be this morning that we wake up with some information from dream time, or we get some information in meditation that can really help us, move forward or settle in and just be aware of everything that we have, our deep gifts within, connected to. Capricorn is good for feeling it in your bones, feeling the power of who you are in your bones and being very, very, very grounded. And it can definitely orient the energy of the Gemini moon that kind of wants to just go in a bunch of different places to get a lot of different energy or different information. Gemini is gathering energy. You're gathering information, you're questioning things, you're learning new things, and it can have you sometimes thrown in duality where it's like, this or that. That's why I've always hated those memes that say things like, it's not da-da-da-da-da, it's this, da-da-da-da. Well, you're in duality if you're doing that, right? So if there's an if, then there's a then. If, then. Okay, so then what? And you can keep going. And pretty soon, once you do that, you can open and open and open and open out of that dualistic vicious circle of the mind. And Pluto can help with that at that late degree of Capricorn if you keep focusing on what is, where are you coming from? Are you in integrity? And then focus in on the Neptune Pisces energy. Are you in a compassionate place? Are you thinking in a way that is not finite, but instead opens up to the pure possibilities, the possibilities of all possibilities? And with Saturn here, trining Jupiter, keeps doing that, sextiling Jupiter, and also sextiling the Sun. There's that ability to continually, because I'm sure you guys have already been building your spiritual foundation, but now there's that connection with Jupiter and the Sun, and you can see that the Sun is sextiling exactly 2 degrees to 2 degrees. So this is wonderful for having that ability to build even more. There's probably, because before with the Sun in Sag, there was a lot of movement towards what brings meaning into your life, because now you believe in something that you can really put your energy into. Now that the Sun has moved into Capricorn, now it's about doing the work. Like you know the direction, you have the tools, you're inspired with the Sag energy, but now with the Sun in Capricorn, you're getting down to the work that needs to be done to actually build it. Like maybe you ordered, this is just an example, I'm not saying this is what it is, but imagine you ordered something, you got really inspired and you wanted something new and you ordered it, and it does require some assembly. Now you have it and you will be assembling. Now this could be true when it comes to kids. Maybe you ordered a bike for a kid, or what I mean, things like that. They do require assembly and oftentimes batteries. So that's just an example of the Capricorn energy. And with the sextile to Saturn, there's that opportunity to really have some fun with it. And all of this is like really good energy for getting together with people that you love and trust and having fun with them and opening up. Jupiter in Taurus is excellent for yummy food. Saturn in Pisces is good for making the yummy food. This connection over here is really good for food. And then the connection to the Sun is really good for the actual doing the work and being more than inspired, but wanting to have it, get it done. Let's see. Let's go to 21, 24. Actually, maybe I'll wait on that one. Yeah, I think I'll wait until tomorrow for that one. I'll wait till Mondays. The Moon with the quincunx in conjunct to the Sun, 2 degrees here, 2 degrees here. There will be adjustments, but I think these are good adjustments. The adjustments come from the moon's ability to connect the dots and the ability to think and learn and communicate and, analyze what works, and then you make that adjustment that can really help you do what it is that you're trying to have accomplished. Yeah, and then, like I was saying, with the inconjuncts over to Venus and Eris, it comes back to digging your heels in if you need to, and there's the courage to hold that position, right? Because you know what you want, you know what's right for you, and why would you give up that? Why would you? What? No, no. Okay, and then also today we have, you can see how Uranus has been opposing Venus, and that'll be out of orb pretty soon, so I think I'll just let that go. I think it's out of orb tomorrow. 19, yeah, I'm sure it will be. But the moon here with the square to Saturn, this aspect could be that, because there's a little tension field, but the tension field could be that you learn something new, and now, and because you've learned something new, now you're inspired to maybe double down a little bit and create something even better than you thought you could. And so now you're like, oh crap, how do I do that? I just got this great idea. Now how do I do it? Right? Let's see. I think that's it for Sunday in the overview. So let's go ahead and go to Monday. So Monday, Christmas Day, 5 a.m. in the morning. We have, you can see Mars here is at 22 degrees, and it's trine the North Node at 22 degrees. And every second it ticks by, it's also trining the Eris. So there's a lot of fiery, courageous, enthusiastic, movement-oriented energy. And Mars is moving closer to Mercury. Of course, Mercury moving back closer towards Mars. So these two are coming together. Things are getting a little more intense, but we still have all that lovely energy that we had yesterday, and that's continuing on. Venus in the inconjunct to Eris, this makes that, digging your heels in, holding your position even stronger. And there is a need for an adjustment, but you don't want to. We don't want to adjust when we've got this kind of, Scorpio to Aries energy here. So, but there will be an adjustment at some point, so we have to, be careful about that. Flexibility is key, but then again, if it comes to a relationship that's intense where somebody's been abusive, this just might be the final adjustment that is made, is to say goodbye. That might be the adjustment. It's possible. We have a sextile between Chiron and the moon, 15 degrees exactly. So there's that opportunity to heal some past life wounding that brings through your gifts, that has you questioning. This is an excellent, especially with the trine over to the South Node, this is so good for getting some clear guidance as to what happened in a past lifetime or what has been happening this lifetime that you want to free yourself from, and then you really emotionally can. This is a healing aspect for emotionally reactive material that you've been carrying all your life. And I'm sure it connects to a past life. And this would especially be really good for anybody who's going through their Chiron return. And, if you're between 50 to 52, at 51 we all get our Chiron return, but we start feeling it at 50, and it takes, till at least 52 to get through it. And some people don't even work on it. They just go around feeling very, very wounded and agitated, and it doesn't happen for them. Now, I'm not talking about transiting Chiron. Transiting Chiron has the power to actually help you and heal you. or attract someone with, Chiron, and then you work it out with them. Right, like sometimes not the easy way. But the deal is, if this is your natal Chiron and you're having your Chiron return, this aspect today on Christmas could be very, very healing. And when you get into your deepest wounding, which Chiron's about, deepest inner conflicts, deepest wounding, once you get into that and you process all those false beliefs and process the pain, what happens is that you have access to all the gifts. And then you help other people the same way that they may be hurting, help them work through it. So, and then also you can see Venus is now exactly trine Neptune. So again with that, and Venus, of course, is moving closer and closer to Sag every day. So with Venus, again in that last decan of Scorpio, we've had lessons, and now there's some areas where we're really getting it down and we really know what we want. We're really appreciating life on the deepest levels, and we've also had enough of transformative experiences in our lives that we realize that we want even more, and that is what life is all about. So with the trine to Neptune, there's that opportunity for understanding that this is only one lifetime in a succession of lifetimes geared to heal sometimes just one aspect. Usually in evolutionary astrology, I learned that it can take up to at least 8 lifetimes, or not up to, at least 8 lifetimes just to heal one aspect. Because usually not usually, I think we always have to learn through experience. You can't just mentally get a concept and go, oh yeah, I know I've learned that's not the way to go. You have to experience. If it's something, in your natal chart or in your inner makeup psychologically and all that, you need to go through it. You need to experience the ramifications of going the wrong direction, and then what it feels like to work it through, because you're working yourself out of a box, right? And that's especially the case with the energy. All this Sag energy is really good for helping us work ourselves out of our boxes, out of the limitations of finite circumstances. So let's see, what else for today? You can see the moon is, it's already exactly opposed Ceres, so I'm thinking that there's been some very, some energy where some people you've probably encountered, because the moon rules the public. There could have been people who are just talking. Could be like some verbal diarrhea with this combo here, and maybe you're done with it, and you're just like, okay, I need some quiet. And there's there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that the other person that had that was just talking because that was the mood that they were in, doesn't mean that they were bad or anything. It's just that sometimes we need something different. So, but we've learned something by this point, and we're ready to move on, and the moon is moving towards this exact opposition to Mars. So again, be careful with arguments, be careful with people demanding that you pick a side, because things are usually never that simple. Except for, we don't hurt children, we don't hurt animals, we're kind to each other, we have our rules. But other than that, when it comes to the exchange of ideas and learning, there's always a workaround. There's always a different way to do things. So let's see, what else? When it comes to the moon, it's just, it's going to oppose Mercury. And then, of course, the full moon's coming in. So this is that build-up to the full moon in Cancer that is going to be very sensitive and very protective, but also very, very good for home and family. And Merry Christmas, by the way, today, or however you celebrate. And then you can see that connection there between Mars here, this sextile. See how Mars is at 22, and the South Node is at 22 degrees. So we have this opportunity to And we have also, there's a divine rectangle here, or actually it's called a mystic rectangle. So we'll talk about that. But at this one end, we have the opportunity to maybe move forward in some relationship area of your life. Or with Libra, it could just be the element, not just because it's really important, but the element of the ability to relate to someone else and engage with someone else, where you're sharing maybe your self-reflection, maybe you're reflecting back and forth between each other. You know how when you're met by someone and there's a lot of healthy mirroring, this really opens up the way for this opportunity here to the trine to the moon, to the south node, and then up to Mars. So I like seeing that. And then with the moon over here sextiling to Chiron, and then with the Chiron sextile back up to Mars, that mystic rectangle, it's all, to me it looks like you could definitely find someone to talk to today who is either, just like they get you. And and maybe you get them, or maybe it's just you listening, and you learn something because they've revealed, their wounding, and they understand their trauma. And I can't tell you how many sessions I've had with people where I realized they didn't need me to ever say anything, although, of course I would mirror what I knew they needed to be mirrored in. But a lot of times people just need a witness. The answer, you have all of your answers within. You have your own guidance system within, and sometimes you just need not sometimes, I would say often we just need a mirror to bounce, another person to bounce those things off of, or to say what your truth is. So that is definitely a beautiful thing that I'm seeing that could happen for today. Let's see, what else? Yeah, with the squares to Neptune from Mercury and Mars squaring Neptune, the tension field and the challenge there could be, that my way or the highway energy, that I'm the one that knows, and, because I've studied the Bible for all these, whatever. And they're more than willing to project that onto some very, very sensitive, empathic individual. And if you're caught in that trap of thinking that you just have to be there for everybody, if you don't have, that's the thing. If you're an empath, one of your biggest lessons in life will be boundaries. Because without those healthy boundaries, you cannot develop your gifts, and you will be eaten up. It's like food for the wolves if you allow it. So don't let yourself be gaslighted. Don't let yourself be the scapegoat. Because the energy's there, verbally and physically. Like somebody that could just get right in your space and really want to go head to head with somebody and just tell them off, So being at either end of that won't be productive at all. It's better to walk away from that type of energy. Walk away, get away, drive away, whatever. I wouldn't fight against it, but I also wouldn't sit there and take it either. Okay, let's see. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Oh, hold on. This other issue with, I spoke to Venus and Neptune together, but I didn't speak it. I think I did already, just to know, actually I did, just to know that it's exact today. This trine to Venus is exact today. And then another thing, that the Mercury square Neptune, because Mercury's moving back towards that exact square and Mars is moving this way. Mercury-Mars can be lying. Somebody lying to you just to make a point. Someone lying to you because they think they know something, or they want to be in control and they want to be superior. Bottom line, that can be a problem. Okay, Tuesday, First chart, this one is the full moon. So at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time, the moon is at 4 degrees 58 minutes. So let's just call it 5 degrees, and it's full, opposing the sun. That's always a full moon, and the trine over to Saturn has happened even earlier. So we were building into this beautiful trine here. Here we have. I mean, I wish we had this for the full moon, actually. I mean, for the, what am I saying, for the Christmas chart. Because it's kind of nice, you know. And just like I was saying before, when it comes to women and menstruation and giving birth, things like that, we know how the buildup is harder than when it actually happens. Or like another way you could, especially if you're a man and you've never gone through it, I think we can all remember a time we either cut ourselves, you know, or got hurt, or we had a fever. And you have that energy where there's that buildup to swelling that's at its peak. And then, or if it's a fever, you're building up to the fever breaking. Well, when it breaks or the swelling is at its peak and then it starts subsiding, this is what the full moon is. So there's a release, and there can be a release of maybe combativeness that where you didn't feel safe and now you do because you really have yourself. But then again, too, with Cancer energy, it's very sensitive. Cancer is so connected to our emotional security and that need for protection. It's really connected to past lives, our roots. Cancer energy can be on the challenging side, like not letting go, coming face to face, head to head with somebody who wants to, again, be in control with the Capricorn energy. But if you have, you know, a soft, loving Capricorn person who's in their integrity, this could be a wonderful opposition because it could lead to a breakthrough, right? Like how about a Cancer person who finally found somebody that they're safe with, but that safety feels very protective because it's that polar opposite energy. Let's see, what else with the full moon? Like I was saying, look how much closer Mercury and Mars is together and squaring Neptune. So again, be careful with the fights. Be careful with, anybody who's trying to scapegoat, use you, gaslight you, project onto you. Projection is such a key issue when it comes to Neptune and Mars, and then the verbal, projection with Mercury. Mars you'd feel it on an energetic level where somebody is, projecting onto you their own false beliefs. Doesn't have anything to do with you. It's all about them and their parents and their parental upbringing and their past lives and their trauma and whatever. But with the square to Neptune, they won't know it and they'll think it's you because maybe you look a little bit like one of their parents, or maybe there's some inflection in your voice or just the way you move through time and space, and then they'll think that, ooh, she's the enemy or he's the enemy. But it's not the case, right? So projection comes simply from someone's unprocessed false beliefs and unprocessed wounding and trauma. Or, as we can see with, you guys have some of the funniest names for him. Assolini, Orangina. The projection that is trying to bring that power, down on somebody so that they can, control them. So using fear as a tool. The dark side of Sag could definitely be using fear as a tool, and to overpower the, the sensitive or the cult-like or the vulnerable. The people who don't really have themselves yet could be the challenge with Neptune in Pisces. People that are finding their way, people that are super sensitive but then get stuck. You can get stuck in that in that place where you're just obliterated. So you don't want to do that, because that energy can go all over the place. You want to stay very grounded. And I love the fact that we have the Sun and Pluto in Capricorn and Jupiter and Uranus in earthy Taurus, because that energy is very, very healing for all of this other mutable energy that can just be all over the place. And the sensitive energy with the full moon in Cancer. So the general rules are, with a full moon, if it conjuncts, if it lines up with, if it connects to anything 3 to 5 degrees, so even 29 degrees Gemini, if you have any planets there, all the way up to about 9 degrees of Cancer. When the full moon hits, you could be more affected than someone else. And especially same thing with Capricorn. If there's if you have anything back to like 29 degrees of Sag and then over to 9 degrees of Capricorn, this could be an interesting full moon for you, where you could be more sensitive than ever before, and it could help you learn a lot about yourself, actually. Let's see, anything else with this full moon? Everything that I spoke to as far as Sunday and Monday are also still here for the full moon energy. So it's just been the big buildup. And then later in the evening, we have Chiron stationing direct. So at 7:10 p.m. Pacific, 10:10 p.m. Eastern, Chiron has now finished its retrogradation and is moving forward and is headed towards the North Node. So if you've done a lot of deep healing work, this connection will be really helpful, because you're headed in a direction on your own path that you will instinctually follow if you're connected deep inside. And you can see we still have late at night, we still have the full moon. We have the moon opposing the sun. As Chiron is now stationed direct. It's not moving direct yet, but it's just stationing, it's stopping. It doesn't stop. It's the relationship between the Earth and the in this case it's a centaur. So with the trine up here, see how Chiron's at 15 degrees and Ceres is at 13. Now we have this really beautiful connection and with both bodies moving forward, where you can be a lot more loyal to yourself. If this is a good connection for, like, if you've been thinking about getting a pet, because Ceres is really related to animals and anything that is nurturing. It's also really good for just things around the home, things that relate to, there could be some deep healing with our relationship with our mothers, because it's Ceres is often connected to the imprint that our mothers have made on us when we are born and growing up. Ceres is also related to the entire home environment that we grew up in, as well as the moon. And with the moon in Cancer, all of those, those things are up. There may be some connection to how it was between your mom and your dad, with the trine here to Saturn, because Saturn usually relates to the dad. This can also trigger people in their patriotism, so you might have to be careful with that. When you go out, like, stay away from those big trucks with all those with all the Trump memorabilia all over it, and all the things that they say about Biden. And boy, talk about projection and gaslighting. That's exactly what they're doing to Biden. But don't worry, he's grounded and strong enough to be able to work with it. Yeah. In fact, he has Saturn transiting over his south node, so that's why it's harder for him right now. But it'll ease off. His south node is exactly 0 degrees Pisces. So, yeah, this is like the final days of things being that challenging for him. I think everything will be on the upswing moving forward. But I do need to do his chart with his transits to get into everything. But anyway, notice how Jupiter is trining. I'm sorry, I keep doing that. I see the trine here, and the moon is sextiling. So the nearly full moon, the waning full moon is sextiling Jupiter. So this is lovely for, maybe there's leftover Christmas food. This is lovely for deeper connections. I mean, it looks to me like Tuesday, the day after Christmas, is better than Christmas Day. Now, a lot of people probably use this day for shopping, and I could see that could be fun with this, all these aspects here, right? Definitely. And maybe returning gifts, that, exchanging, things like that. We can see that we have this double sextile coming off of the South Node in Libra, relating to relationships and peace and fairness, equality, with the connection up here to moving forward in ways that bring more meaning into life, feeling better about the direction that you're going and the relationships that you have. And then with all the trines coming down here to the North Node in Eris, there's a lot of courage to stay on your path there. And that's perfect. Okay, and then with the Sun trining Jupiter, see how the Sun's at 5 degrees Capricorn, and then Jupiter's at 5 degrees Taurus. This has been tightening up, and it's really good for today. So again, back to, if you're not, or even if you are going shopping, who says that going shopping can't involve something for your work? Maybe I'll look for some new tarot cards or something. But anyway, we have this great opportunity here for expanding things that bring value and meaning into our lives, and then the ability to get it done. Lots of get her done energy here with Capricorn season. So okay, so let's go ahead and go to Wednesday. Wednesday, the Sun to Jupiter that I was just speaking to is exact, okay? And the Venus to Saturn square that I was speaking to has finally come into orb. So now with Venus in this, building square, what has previously kind of been okay for you in relationships is now feeling like, I don't know, there's too much limitation, especially if you're over here in the sensitive Pisces end, and you've been in relationship with someone who just has such a penchant for attracting crisis or intensity, and you don't want that crisis and intensity in your life anymore. There will be some questioning of relationship there, and that's especially true because of the double sextile to the South Node, all these trines over to Aries, the Sun trining Jupiter, and the Moon is still opposing the Sun there. So we are in this and oh my goodness, and not only that, so everything points to relationship tests here. With Uranus in conjunct the South Node, this is, And Uranus is about to go direct. I think, if I remember right, is it on the 1st? No, it's not. It's not till January 27th. Yeah. But it'll be the only, notice that Pluto's not retrograde anymore, Saturn's not retrograde anymore, Neptune's not retrograde anymore. I think it's Jupiter's one that goes direct. That's right. Jupiter goes direct on New Year's Eve. So that'll be next, Sunday. And when that happens, then the only planet that is left to be retrograde, although, Jupiter still has to get out of its shadow, and Mercury is still retrograde. But after Mercury goes direct on the 2nd, January 2nd, then Uranus is the only thing that's going to still be retrograde. So that means that things are moving towards more movement. After having all this reevaluation and regrouping, and hopefully a lot of, because there's the potential for a lot of renewal and reinventing ourselves. And then Uranus retrograde is really good for reinventing ourselves, so I don't mind it being, retrograde. And yeah. Right now, with Uranus in the last, these several years in Taurus, it's been good for finding what matters most, for waking up to how important it is for your healing and your health, that your spiritual healing is directly related to the health in your body, and vice versa. The more you get healthy, the more it helps you feel good and connected to your spirit. And it's really hard to feel optimistic and feel like you can come through it on the other side and be in a completely new place if your health is suffering. So you really have to double down and love yourself through any health issue, and use it as a gateway to go deeper in and figure out what your false beliefs are, and then you can come out the other side. That's the blessing with Uranus in Taurus. And also all the new inventions for, geared towards safety that we've all seen. Okay, so let's see, what else? The moon is in conjunct Ceres this morning, and actually for hours and hours into the day. So with that, there's an adjustment. There's an adjustment because you're more sensitive and tuned into security and growth. Cancer is a very growth-oriented planet, or sign, I'm sorry. And with the moon, there's also that need. There's a real need for growth. And then because maybe you've understood that is real for you, then you make an adjustment, and maybe the adjustment has to do with understanding your parental imprint and your home environment, because boy, the energy's certainly there for that, and there could be a real healing breakthrough. Once you know something, then you can make the adjustments. And then same thing with Uranus, with the inconjunct back over here to the south node. Some relationship issues of the past, I think there might be a deeper understanding there, and the adjustments can be made from that as well. You can see the sun is still sextiling Saturn. Mercury is getting closer and closer. Well, it's still in that sextile to Neptune, yeah. So, we're still, it's like all week we're dealing with that. Be careful about somebody trying to gaslight you or use you as a scapegoat or blame you, That's the problem is when people won't take self-responsibility, they just love to blame others. So anyway, the other thing here is, so I got the Venus to Saturn, we're clear with that one. Mercury to Neptune, I've spoken about that. With the Sun to Jupiter, maybe that is it for this one. Yeah, I think we can go ahead and move on. Okay, so let's see what's happening Thursday. The moon is in this building opposition to Pluto, so things are heating up. There could be some conflicts, some contradictory type of energy, somebody who just wants to complain and whine and and then there's another person over here going, come on, well, how do we fix it? And maybe, and then too, maybe it's a relationship issue. And you can see Pluto's is no longer squaring Eris, so there's no squares. There's just the trine over to Venus. And we do have the aspect of the architect here. So to surmise all of this connection and the inconjunct up to Mercury and Mars, this to me spells out somebody learning that they don't want to be fixed. That somebody over here on this side of the equation learning that this person over here doesn't want to be fixed. They know that they can fix themselves, and they know that they're in a period of growth, because the moon is at this tension field between the nodes. And then here we are over at this other side, just like, well, but don't they get it? They don't get it. Oh, but it would be so easy if they just did it this way, or if they could just let go of that old emotional thing. But this person over here is trying to make them understand that they're the ones that need to do it. They're the ones that need to experience whatever it is, and then they can flip the energy. But if you do it for me, I can't ever get it done myself, and I need to do it myself. It could be something like that. Another way that it could work out is it could be challenging. So here's an awful, what's a good example, but an awful experience. And an experience would be, let's say you go to a psychic fair and you have a card reading, and they hit on the fact that you've been betrayed over and over and over and over again in your life, and they can even name how it happened and blah blah blah, because they're psychic and connected. But then all of a sudden it takes a wrong, the wrong turn, or a bad turn, where they tell you, but I can fix that for you. You just have to give me $100 for this one candle, and I need $100 for this other candle, and $100 for this other. Anyway, $600, and I can break this curse. And you're sitting here going, wait, what the fuck? And if you're smart, you realize there are no such things as curses and hexes. But you've got this controlling person over here, very connected psychically, and and maybe somebody's been there, and if you have, I invite you to let go of the fact that there's no such thing as a hex or a curse. Nobody can put a curse on you. They can actually hold curses on themselves. They can, whatever they're projecting onto you and trying to hook you into will come back to them. Somebody will try and control them. But hexes and curses are not a real thing. Black magic is not a real thing. But if you believe it is, then you can stay stuck in this entire, this Venus squaring Mercury and Mars. That topic could come up this entire week for someone out there. And I invite you to step into the possibility that hexes and curses are not real. Something like that could come to a head with Mars to Neptune and Mercury and Mars and the moon over here in Cancer, and all of this psychic connection. Something could definitely come to a head like that. And maybe it turns out to be the perfect example, and someone needed to hear that. So, South Node in Libra, in conjunct Uranus and Taurus, could be just that adjustment, that freedom. Because let's imagine somebody with this transit on, I don't know, let's say Uranus has been on your sun, and your sun is at, it's been like 15 to 19 degrees or somewhere in there, or even 25 degrees of Taurus. And you've been waking up, you've been doing the work, and you've been just amazed at how, the universe can line up for you at just the right times, and you're inspired, and it's been getting better and better. And you're feeling more free of the past, and you've been letting go, and you're feeling so much better. And relationships, there's been adjustments that have come through with relationships. And this is just that last thing that held you for so long, was that belief in hexes and curses. So I expect to get a lot of comments with people that don't agree with me, and that's okay. But just consider it. Consider that they're not real. Yeah, I can see the voodoo dolls being made now, right? I'm just kidding. Okay, tuned into Venus, trine, Neptune, okay, and then trine down to the moon, and then trine back up to Venus. So you can see we have a grand water trine right here. And that is like a holy trinity of energy that can be extremely growth producing, and a way that we can master our emotional reactions from the past so that they are now flowing freely, and they're feelings that you can trust, which is what spiritual work is. It's not done with the mind. Spiritual work is not, I mean, you make decisions and then you do the work, but it's not done with just ideas and then you let it go and you keep going. It's done through the feeling, through the emotional body. The emotional body is tied to the past. Emotionally reactive material is tied to the past, where there's wounding and trauma. But when you work through the wounding and trauma, then it flows freely to you in the moment, and you're in the present moment of a feeling that is there to guide you. And so from Venus to the moon to Venus here, this could be very powerful for this day. I like that. Okay, let's go to Friday. Friday we have Venus moving into Sagittarius, and this happens at 12:42 p.m. Pacific. And now, I mean, there's going to be so much energy in Sag, but with Venus in Sag, the flavor changes quite a bit as far as, because remember, Venus is all about harmony and unity and bringing people together. And like, think of President Obama. He has Sun conjunct Venus in Leo. So he's, it's easy for him to connect with his heart and communicate from the heart. And that's how he would bring people together, of course. Now, with Venus in Sag, Venus has the power to bring more meaning into your life. With Sagittarian energy, just remember, it helps us to orient on our path. It helps us to search for what matters most to us, to bring more meaning into our lives, and most of all, to what do we really believe in. So with we still have the sextile here to Pluto. So powerful relationships where your belief systems are in alignment is what I'm seeing there. I like that. Okay, and the moon's in Leo today. So we have the trine up to Ceres happening. So the moon to Ceres is like a double whammy of the moon, but with Leo and Sag. So this is all maternal, home, all of that coming from the heart, and then the movement of Sag. So courageous love, and with this wonderful flow of energy that really brings in something that is, I would think, path orienting, and it also helps you to have that strong, stable base for yourself. Because if you're not connected to the love in your heart on a daily basis, life becomes very flat and meaningless. So now I think we're having a lot more opportunity for heart-opening experiences. And then the moon is also, every hour it moves by, it's going to come into an exact, because it's 12:42, it'll be all day, all night. This trine over to Chiron, this can be really beautiful. This can be an aspect, this can be an experience for many of you that once you've really connected with your heart, and when you're connected to your heart, you have more courage. And so love is always a choice. You have to choose love. So every time we choose love and connect with that courage, and then with the connection over here to Chiron and Aries, my goodness, it doesn't really get much better than that, because there's that instinctual urge to love. That is just really, really beautiful. And then the moon, early in the morning, I should have spoken to this here first. We have the square to Jupiter. There's a little tension field in the morning but I don't see it as being bad, because with Jupiter and Taurus, Taurus coming back to, having and holding and magnetizing and manifesting and anchoring in, bringing in opportunities, and especially as to what you value, opportunities that matter to you, things that matter to you, you'll create the opportunity for. And then maybe the tension field in the morning is just, oh, do I trust my love that much? Do I trust that if I follow my heart, that it will take me in the right direction? And when it comes to manifesting, it's, back to that old Marcia Sinitar book, do what you love and the money will follow. Okay, the other aspects are the same, so we're still in that nice holding pattern. And then Saturday, so the last day, the moon is still in, or last day of the week, the moon is still in Leo. But look at these fire trines. Look at this. So we have 3 fire trines going on, because the moon is trine Ceres, Mercury, and Mars. Mercury's gone back far enough. I probably missed that yesterday. I bet that was in there. But Mars is now on the other side. And, that's right, because Mercury, it'll only go back. This is as far back as it's going to go, because this is where it started, the retrogradation process. So now from here, it'll, that's right, because I think it's the 2nd. Yeah, on the 2nd. It just has to get about another... Well, it's almost there. Yeah, it's there. It's really close. So just a few more days, and then Mercury will be direct. So these are the last, and we've already covered this territory, right? Because Mercury started its retrogradation process started on December 13th, but now the Sun is at the same degree that Mercury was when it went retrograde. So there's still this connection. Yeah, and then the Jupiter, there's still that Sun trine Jupiter going on. We've had this all week. I love that. But anyway, back to this fire trine here to the moon. I think, honestly, because we have a kite aspect here to the south node, I think that it's everything that I was speaking to for yesterday and the day before, and it's very path-orienting, because there's hindsight going on. There's hits to the past where there's deep healing that happens when you can connect the dots to the past to help you understand, oh, this happened because I had that belief. There's no way I could have even attracted something better because I was stuck in that belief. And now that you know that, you have opportunities to break free, because look at all these trines. And the sextile, this direction goes back to the past. And it's tightening up as we go, every hour forward on Saturday. So Saturday is Saturday the 30th is a really good day for breaking free, for getting out of those boxes. There's a tension field, but it's all geared towards freedom, to have your life be the way that you want it to be, but connecting the dots back to past relationships and deeper understanding. And then, of course, with Neptune and Saturn and Pisces, there's that connection to deeper understanding, holding space for all of us. And coming full circle is what I'm getting. I heard coming full. So many of you are going to come full circle and understand that your belief system in the past is what created where you're sitting in now. And because you know that, and you've taken that deep self-responsibility to know that you create your own reality and it's just all tied to your belief system, then everything flips. Everything turns around, and you can, go the direction that you want to go. And everything's headed towards Capricorn, so then we're going to really be working on having whatever it is. I mean, this lineup we have here with, remember, we had Mercury and Mars together in Scorpio. Remember that last month? And it was really intense, and it was very challenging, and it hasn't gotten much easier in Sag because Mercury and Mars together, it's like them are fighting words usually. Or words of truth. If you're aligned with love, it's words of truth. And, words, understanding when people are lying, you know they're lying, so you can flip it and you know what the truth is. Right? Words of truth coming from your guides to help orient you on your path. And now we're headed towards all of this energy, Ceres, Mercury, and, Mercury will be there first. No, actually Mars will be there first, and Mercury will catch up. But anyway, we're looking forward to all of this being in Capricorn. And something solidifying. So yeah, I think I'll just wrap this up by saying that once you get to the place where you're taking self-responsibility for everything that you've created in your life, and you see how you've gotten where you are based on your beliefs, whether they came through from, they always come through from past lives, right? Again, back to the place where we are in a succession of lifetimes in order to heal sometimes just one aspect. And it's valuable work, but you have to look at it from the point of view of this is just one lifetime out of maybe 8 or 10 that you've been working, and maybe you're at lifetime number 9, and this will be the lifetime that aspect is done, or maybe you've worked so hard this lifetime that you've healed so many different aspects that you've been able to bring in the positive energy of your natal birth map, and you've let the other stuff go. I hope that is the experience that you have in this lifetime. So, okay, but it's all about that self-responsibility, and that's what we're moving to, or we're moving towards with all that Capricorn energy. So, okay, I'm going to get this uploaded. Send you big hugs. Bye, you guys.